boy P. Frank with me. And we letting everybody know who got a dream. Yo, stay focused. Keep moving forward. It's on the way. Keep that dream alive. If you got a dream, don't look to the left, nor the right. Let's go.
Your faith is in Jesus. Completion is here before you even begin. Dreaming big of my life in the future. Already knowing that it's not far. Having the passion to work towards Jesus. I'm gonna keep my faith and swagger going hard. Don't turn right. Just look straight. You don't have to fear no.
Hello, and happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am your host, Dr. Yolanda Jerry, also known as the Empowerment Advocate, and I'm excited about having you all with us today. Look, we having a phenomenal and amazing I'm so excited about this interview right now. I don't even know what to say, but look, let me just tell you something. Share this broadcast, tag a friend, tag a family member, because look, we have the amazing Laia Jones with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to give you a few more minutes, or should I say a few more seconds, to go ahead and share this broadcast, and we will be right back.
Welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, where you will hear stories from people who have experienced hell on earth and have walked past hell to share their stories. You will also hear what they are doing now and how their businesses, nonprofits, and ministries were birthed from their past trauma. So let's empower the world, one story at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Yolanda Jerry.
And we are back. Welcome back with me. So again, we have none other than the phenomenal Laia Jones with us. Laia is a Memphis native. She began singing with her church choir at the age of 7 and hasn't stopped singing. She began honing her craft and decided early in life to pursue this passion. Many of the Motown hits that she sings today are near and dear to her heart because her father, an avid listener of many Motown's finest, played the music as she was growing up. Laia has worked with many recording artists in the gospel, country, rock, R&B arena over the years, to include Ernest Pugh, Donald Lawrence, Demeter Haddon, Rod Stewart, Mary J. Blige, David Foster, Hezekiah Walker, Erica Campbell, Warren Campbell, and Miss Dolly Parton, to name a few. Her heart's desire is to touch nations through singing and songwriting, and she believes, like breathing, singing is a privilege and a gift from God. So look, are you all ready for Laia Jones? Because I know I am. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her to the screen. Let's go ahead and welcome her in.
Hello.
How are you?
I am well. How are you? That is the most amazing intro.
It's different when you hear your intro on the other side.
Right. I'm like,
That's right. Well, I am just thankful for you taking time out your busy schedule to be on the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. I'm excited about our conversation and things that we are going to be talking about today. So let's get started. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm ready. Go ahead and do this. So I want you to tell me and the people that are watching a little bit more about yourself. And I usually try to go into, you know, when you want to know about somebody, you always start with their childhood. So if you could you please share with us, you know, where you grew up, and also, you know, a little bit about your childhood, if you don't mind.
I shall. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm the oldest of three. And I grew up in a family that was very family oriented. We often attended church because my mom was a Sunday school teacher and she was one of the leaders of our youth department. And so that's how I ended up spending so much time in church. Like a lot of what I learned about music and entertainment and standing in front of people, speaking in front of people, because a lot of times we didn't have a choice. It was like, Leia, I'll put you on program for blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I didn't ask. But you, you were told, or you were voluntold, hey, this is what you're doing. And I think even then, although as a child, you may have been upset about sister so and so or brother so and so writing your name down on a program, and you're like, I didn't even ask to be. But you learn how to be prepared for anything. And I spent a lot of time in church, in the choir. And most of the friends that I had, they were a part of something creative. And that's where it started for me. And even, you know, after church ended, that stuff didn't end at home, you know, and I was able to continue to hone my craft as a musician and understand the beauty of creativity, because I think creatives, we paint in different colors. We don't see things in black and white. And so I remember like being a kid and we had a big den growing up. That den was huge to me. And we used to sit, my dad and I used to sit in that den and listen to, and back then and this was like the 80s, 90s, he still had records. And so we would sit down in our den and he would be like, this is Earth, Wind and Fire. And this is blah, blah, blah song. And I was like, Dad, can we go now? But still to this day, I still love Earth, Wind and Fire because my dad used to listen to them. I still enjoy like Otis Redding and some of the older music that a lot of people don't really get a chance to experience like I have, because it was much older then for me to even be listening to it. But even now it still hits home for me as some of the classics, the greats. And I still love to listen to that stuff, not only because it makes me think about my dad, but because it's such great music. Yeah. And so that's how I got started. And then it didn't stop because I ended up in high school doing so many creative things and being in creative arts programs then as well. I was in my high school choir for a while. And then when I went to college, I was in our college choir for a while. And then even after college ended, I was always finding my way back to something creative. And even with the career path that I've chosen, I was always some kind of way finding myself back to the music. I was always somewhere around it. It's almost like a drug for me. I don't care where I go, I always find it. And so that's usually where I gravitate toward the things that allow me to just see life in a different way. And all of my friends are creatives of some sort, whether it's designing or screenwriting or any type of musician. All of us do something creative. And I just love how people who are creative in that way, we see the world in with such a broad lens. And so that's how I got my start, which led me here today. And I think for me, songwriting came about because as a child, I used to keep a journal. You know, you start out with those little diaries, and then it graduated because I needed more paper. I got the little notebooks from like the dollar store and started to write in those. And my thoughts began to become stories, and the stories ended up turning into poems, and the poems ended up turning into songs. And back then, I was dealing with a lot as a kid. I had lost my mom at a young age. And so to deal with it, I usually wrote. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And I thank God that my aunt and my dad, who raised me, were big advocates of just allowing me to um, take my pain and use it to form the purpose that I have today. And I think it's true that all things really do work together for the good of them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. I don't think anything happens for no reason. Everything has a purpose. Everything that happens in life, it has some type of point to it. And I think that God used all of that pain that I had as a child to get me here today. And eventually, even after losing my dad, music became a safe space for me. And I just continue to write to this day. I continue to sing to this day. I've gone from choirs to background vocalist to band member. I've done quite a bit. And I think even through my journey of ups and downs, I've always figured out a way to make music therapy for me. So that's how it started, though. I blame my dad for, a lot of the love that I have for music. And even my mom. My mom was, she was kind of different. Like, my dad was a big R&B lover, but my mom would pick up stuff like Nat King Cole. And I'm like, who's this dude? And I mean, it just opened my mind up to so many different genres of music, even as a kid, that, you learn that a lot of that stuff is not what people borrow from. So yeah, I had fun.
Wow, Leah. Music.
Yeah.
Music is such good food for the soul. And by you, I just, say that I can connect with you here, even though I can't sing, I ain't no artist, right? What I love is music, right? And no matter what you're going through, music can get you through. That for me, I can only speak for myself. And that's because of, you mentioned, your dad, you grew up around all soul music, R&B and gospel and all these different things. That was real music back then. I'm gonna keep it real, because now you got this music that's out here today. They're sampling the real music, right? They're sampling. So, and one of the things about, real music back in the day is the music had meaning. There was a message in the music, or there was joy in the music. And you talk about Earth, Wind and Fire. Look, my dad, literally, they would have, my mom and dad, they'd have their little card parties and things like that. But every time they had their little get-togethers or they had their Sunday dinners, there was music being played, and it was Earth, Wind and Fire, the Isley Brothers, Frank Beverly Mays, all the time. So to hear that, you were brought up around music, and now that you are doing this as well, in your adulthood, that's amazing. That speaks volumes about when it comes to how your parents groomed you, how your parents raised you, right? So thank you for sharing just that piece about, your childhood and growing up. And now you've been on stages with all these different, phenomenal people, well-known people, Erica Campbell, I love her, right? Hezekiah Walker.
She's amazing. Yeah.
All day. Mary J. That's a truth. That woman right there is a true testament of being vulnerable and sharing her whole life.
Right?
World. Like that woman's whole album from back then until now.
Right.
Message and everything that she has sung, whether she was up, whether she was down, whether she was going through pain or through trauma. So when you think about artists like that, like Mary J. Blige and those type of people, I know our title for today, your topic is the will to live through it, right? And so when you talk about the will to live through it, you mentioned you lost your dad, right? So let's talk about that a little bit, because I know losing a parent isn't easy, and just listening to your heart, knowing that the connection that you had with your dad, how did you cope with losing your father?
Well, I give my aunt a lot of credit for it. My aunt raised me with my dad, and by that time, I had already lost a mom, and so I think the coping skills that I learned from my aunt being a big advocate of going to therapy was the key component in how we were able to live through it. Um, we did a lot of praying, we did a lot of talking, we did a lot of, you know, making things like, pictures and posting things up about our parents, and just holding on to those great memories through tangible things. But therapy was one of those great things. And for me, I learned that music was one of my pieces of something that I could hold on to that was therapeutic. And so I was always drawn to that. When I lost my mom, I was somewhere trying to figure out how to stay close to music. And so that's why I was always at church because that's where the music was. When I lost my dad, I was in school, but I was connected to a lot of friends and people that knew other friends that connected me to music. And so although I was living through the trauma of those two great losses, I still had things to keep me occupied because I was always around something creative. And I recommend for any parent, grandparent, or whomever is rearing a child or children to make sure that they have their children around something creative, to make sure that they could channel a lot of the things around us that cause us pain. When we have something like that to do, to just draw into and put all of that energy into, I think it makes it so much easier for us to get through it, because I think the pain is then interpreted through the music, and it can make something that can really be painful into something beautiful. And so that's mainly what I did.
Wow. So you use what your dad imparted in you,
I
right?
did.
To help you deal with the loss of him and also the loss of your mother.
Right.
And that's I like that though. You say use something creative to keep you in a positive space. And I believe that's so important. Because the world just keeps going, and you see all this negative stuff going on. People dying in the pandemic.
Yeah, we do.
People losing loved ones left and right. Mothers, fathers, children. Relatives, friends. And it's like, okay, what do I do now? You tap into the gifts that have been
Right.
imparted, or the gifts God has given you, to be able to help you push through. Because at the end of the day, it's not easy. It's not easy.
And I've learned that he always puts something there. We just have to listen. We have to listen.
That's
I
very
think as much as we speak to God, we also need to wait for him to speak back. And then once we wait for him to speak back, that's when we'll know how to move forward through a lot of different things. So I think listening is one of the key things too that has helped me to, hey Byron, has helped me to really understand the power of who God is. We always want to pray and speak, but sometimes we just got to be still and listen.
Ooh, that's powerful. I always say, if there's one way to get somebody's attention, like in the pandemic, the Lord know how to sit you down and make you sit
Man, I mean, God was like, y'all out here wilding, be still, sit down. And I mean, we had to sit down.
Exactly. Like literally sit down, stay in your house, sit in your seat, don't go outside, put on a mask, But that's so true. That's powerful when you say, we can pray, we can ask God for guidance, but we have to wait, be still, and wait for him to answer. Wait for him to give us what he needs to give us. And sometimes we can be so what's the word I want to use? Well,
busy
we just
doing nothing.
busy doing nothing. There you go, or trying to put the cart before the horse, whatever you want to use, and try to get the answer right away when you don't need the answer right away. Maybe the whole point of making you be still is so that way you can learn to sit and wait, because what's out there before you, where you're trying to run to, might not be good for you.
And as crazy as it seems, when we were supposed to be sitting, I seem to have gotten so much more done during this pandemic musically, because I was like, well, I ain't got nothing else to do. So I ended up I was like, all right, Byron, what's next? All right, Dynamite, what's next? So we continue to work, and I thank God for this phone, because I was constantly just kind of recording thoughts and writing music and sending stuff back and forth to my producers and saying, hey, what y'all think? And I mean, we have come up with so much because we had to just be quiet and refocus and repurpose our time. Right. And I think I learned what matters most and what can go in this season. And I'm learning how to just differentiate the two, because we make so much matter that really doesn't. We make the irrelevant relevant, and we waste so much time doing the things that don't benefit us, which can in turn benefit someone else. And I think through this pandemic, I learned to ask myself, what are you doing in your life that can bless somebody else's life? And I understand the power that God has given me is through my creativity. And if I'm not using that, then it's low-key a sin, because I'm supposed to be giving this gift back to someone who needs to hear from God through me. That's right. I am an ambassador. And if I cannot serve in my greatest capacity, it's my own fault for just not concentrating on the mission at hand. And so that's what this pandemic has taught me. Focus on the mission, get the work done, because somebody needs what you have.
Powerful. I hope you all are paying attention to everything Laia is saying. She's dropping these nuggets. It's hot right now, telling you to be still. To operate your true calling. Y'all better listen to this woman of God. Well, Laia, I'm going to go to a quick commercial break.
Yes, ma'am.
I highlight my sponsors of the show, and we'll be right back.
Hi there, Kim Coles here, and I want to invite you to the Power Up Summit, which is July 14th through the 18th, 2021. It's an international virtual summit held over 5 days with over 100 speakers, including me. I'm excited to join the creator and host, Kern Cherry, and her wonderful team. So go right now to timetopowerup.com. That's time, the number 2, powerup.com. Registration is free. But if I were you, I would upgrade to enjoy everything in the Power Up VIP All Access ticket. Join me as I help to celebrate over 100 amazing individuals for their excellence for the inaugural Power Up Awards. It's always a good time to power up. Woo, woo, woo.
And that was the amazing Kim Cole. She is one of the keynote speakers for Power Up Summit. And of course, this was sponsored by K Connections. Miss Kern Cherry, she is the host and visionary of Power Up Summit that is going on right now. You still have time to register. Go to www.time2powerup.com to get registered, and also get your all access pass, because you get to sit in the same room with keynotes like Kim Coles and Chrisette Michelle and Forbes Riley and Tamika B. Scott. Let me go and put that out there too, because she's also one of our keynotes. So get your all access pass, www.time2powerup.com. All right, Laia. So let's get into, the title again says The Will to Live Through It. So I want to dig a little deeper, and could you share with us what other aspect of your life defines that title for you when it comes to the will to live through it? What did you have to go through to keep pushing through?
Well. a lot of people that know me know that I lost both of my parents to cancer. Well, in 2017, I was diagnosed with cancer. And this was like right in the middle of me doing so many things. And I was just like, and I'm really candid with God. I'm super candid. I was like, I don't have time for this, God. I was like, I'm out here working. I'm out here moving. What are we doing? And I literally remember asking God, I said, Lord, I said, I don't have time to be off. The thing was, I didn't want to be off. And I said, I need my body to defy science. And I I really did. I said, I need my body to defy science because I got some things to do, Jesus. I for real do. And I remember my doctor coming into the room and telling me, ma'am, we're going to have to do surgery. You tell us what you want us to do. And we went through the whole process of chemo and all that stuff. And even still, I remember at that time I was in a band. And my band leader was like, you might not be able to come back. I said, who said that? He was like, well, I don't want you to be sick while we're performing. I said, well, I tell you what, you let me know when you want me to come back, because what I'm not going to do is allow a diagnosis to dictate to me how I'm going to continue to live my life. I took my little bald-headed self up there on the stage and gave the people what I had. You hear me? Because in my mind, I was going through a sickness. I was not going to continue to live and continue to say, hey, I have cancer. No, I'm overcoming cancer. And I think mindset is what allowed my body to respond differently than even my doctors had seen before. I remember my oncologist telling me, she said, I've never seen anybody like you. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I just don't understand. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, I'm giving you the highest form, the harshest form of chemo that I have. And you're coming in here and you're clowning around with me. You're not crying and you're not all in tears. She was like, you can talk, you're going to work. I said, child, let me tell you something. I talked to God. I said, I'm not trying to be overly religious with you. I said, but I asked the Lord to do something different with me. And I think because I decided, hey, you either go boss up or go somewhere and be still and sit down. I just refuse. And I think I'm like that with a lot of things. You can tell me I'm going to lose if you want to. That might be the worst thing you can do, because I don't like to I don't like to lose. And so I and my brother, when he came to my my house to take care of me with my aunt, he was like, if you want to be encouraged, go in Leia's bathroom. I was like, what you trying to say? He was like, you got scriptures everywhere. I was like, listen, I recite something every day from off that wall. I said, you keep going in there. I said, you're going to be encouraged too here. He was like, listen, you got scriptures everywhere. But I said, my Bible say encourage yourself in the Lord. So that's what I had to do. And I said, well, if I got power of life and death in my tongue, and my Bible said those that love it shall eat the fruit of it, well, I'm going to keep eating the fruit. You see what I'm saying? You got to say what you want to see. And I said I was healed. And so that's what I became.
You got me jump up out of my seat over here. I'm trying to hold this now. Ooh, I hope y'all listening to what she's saying right now. There's life and death in the power of the tongue. Did you hear what this
say? You gotta say it. You gotta say it. If you want to see it and if you want to live in it, you have to say it. Even if it's saying it to yourself, you say it. And I mean, I remember going, and this was like during the ending stages of my chemo. I remember going into the doctor's office because I used to go on my lunch. I would go in there like, y'all ready? And the lady was like, you working? I was like, yeah, I'm on my lunch. Hurry up. Because she She had to give me my white blood cell booster. And she was like, I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you're working? I was like, yeah, hurry up. I need to eat. I'm hungry. She was like, most people don't work through this. I said, I'm not most people. I am not. Hurry up. And I just was like, you have a good day. I see myself through a different lens. And I saw so many people when I was going through chemo, because you sit in this huge room and they have all these different chairs of people getting the same injections you getting, but they might not be doing as well as you are. It starts here though. It's here. If you can wrap your mind around better, you'll see better. If you can wrap your mind around his best, you get his best. But if you can't, then you won't. I think I heard Dr. Tony Evans, I think it was, who said it's not that God won't do it, but he can't do it if you don't believe it. Mm-hmm. Or that he can't do it, but he won't do it if you don't believe it. I had the can'ts and won'ts backwards. But he was saying, God can do anything. But if you can't wrap your mind around what he can do, he ain't doing that for you. He might do it for the next somebody, but right. He ain't doing that for you, because you can't even, the guy who said he can do anything, you can't even wrap your mind around the fact that he said he can do it. And that means you're not excluded. And so I think me just wrapping my mind around that, and me not really liking for people to tell me, no, I mean, my reconstructive surgeon was like, you can't be jogging. I said, well, what am I supposed to do for exercise? She was like, let me tell you something, little girl. She was like, take your behind somewhere and walk. I said, well, I mean, can I briskly walk? She said, that's about all I'm gonna need you to do. She said, you can't, because I used to jog all the time. Mm-hmm. And while they were doing the reconstruction, I was like, I mean, y'all saying I can't go to the gym. I got to go with the old people in the morning. I was like, I'm not liking this. She was like, ma'am, you can't go to the gym hydroponic like that. I was like, well, what am I? She was like, you better go outside and do something in the neighborhood. I was like, I can't, man. She was like, no. She was like, this is what you're going to do. I was like, ooh. And I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time with that because it's not that I don't like to listen, but so much of my norm was being altered. Mm-hmm. But I had to learn, Laia, even in the alterations of your normal, you figure out how to make this work. Because overall, a lot of people are trying to get you to a place where you are well. Right. So I had to listen. So instead of me, and I used to live by the Rose Bowl. And so one time around the Rose Bowl was, I think, 3 miles. Mm. And I used to run it. And there were lots of people out there. Boy, I was so mad when she told me I had to walk. I was like, this is taking up too much time. Where she was like, well, you can briskly walk. I was like, that is not jogging, though. It's not jogging. It's not. I mean, I used to literally like run around. But I was like, Laia, you got to adjust in order for you to get to the next level. You can't get to the next level if you're not listening to the people that are here trying to help you. And there was a time where I also had to learn you can't do anything by yourself. I was so used to, as a single female, doing a lot of stuff all by myself. I mean, it was my friends and I living in California, and we were good. All of us are single. All of us were out just doing our thing. And so to have people come by and help me pick up stuff or help me make dinner, I was like, this is some bull. But I had to learn, Laia, 2 is better than 1. Right. 2 is better than 1. You cannot live life by yourself and do all of this alone. It's not good for man to be alone. And I had to learn how to let people in who were willing to help and willing to love me through helping me. I think that was the toughest part for me, because I was so used to doing everything by myself. And if 9 times out of 10, if I would ask you to do it and you wouldn't go do it, I was gonna figure out how to do it.
I bet.
But I had to learn how to outgrow that as well. And that was a part of me living through it. I had to learn how to live through my own selfishness and my own self-centeredness, because that's pretty much self-centeredness. You say I can do it myself. I don't need nobody. And I had to learn how to live through all of that. I had to learn how to let people in when I really wanted to be like, I don't got time for this today.
Right.
But yeah, so it was really God showing me how to be still, let people help, and allow people to show me that I can't do it all by myself.
Right. And just hearing all this, there goes that be still come back right up in there, right? But the will to live through it, knowing that you realize you have the will, right? Because God gave it to you. But sometimes, like you said, we can't do everything by ourselves, even though we feel like we Superwoman, Superman, or whatever it may be. But with your illness, when you have to go through chemo and all of those different things, chemo takes a lot out of you. Even though you still wanted to push through, you had to learn that God gave these gifts to these doctors for a reason. And that you are to listen to these doctors because they are the ones that are professionally trained. They're the experts. They've been given the gift. We can try to self-diagnose and self-medicate ourselves all day, every day, because Google is out there. It's like, go ahead and just walk an extra mile a day. But at the end of the day, we still not certified and experts in that area. We just trying to basically run tests on our own self when the answer is already given, to the doctors through God, because he's gifted them with those things. And so for you to understand that I had to sit still, I had to allow the doctors to tell me what I need to do with my life in order for me to continue to heal the right way, right, instead of the wrong way. And then allowing people to come into your life to love you through it all. Right? Because sometimes I'm sure you were a handful. I'm sure you were a handful.
My aunt used to be like, I know you're not listening to me. I would be like, oh, Velma, I did hear you. I really did. And my aunt both of them were truly amazing. My aunt Eula came and she stayed with me for like 2 weeks. She said, you mean? I was like, but I wasn't used to letting people help me.
Right.
And then my Aunt Velma and my Uncle Al would drive like 3 hours every week to come take me to chemo. And just having them in the room and having them with me, it really gave me a lot of, it fueled me. It gave me a lot of hope to just keep living through it. And my aunt is also a survivor. And so I needed to look at her to allow God to show me it's possible for you to get here.
Right.
And I'm so grateful that she allowed me to do that. She allowed me to sit in front of her and watch her as she continued to grow and progress with me. And it got to the point where doctors were looking for my aunt. They were like, where's she at? I was like, wait, she'll be back. Better come on back. I remember one time the nurse was about to hook me up and I said, don't put nothing on me. She was like, we're ready to get started. I was like, not before my aunt get back here. You ain't gonna get, you gonna mess something up. She gonna be on you. She was like, all right. I said, you better wait for her to get back here, all right? Because my aunt fought for me. And a lot of things that I didn't know, she was fully aware of. My aunt even told me like how I was supposed to get my blood pressure taken because I did not know. And me having to just stop and listen It still is helpful today for me. She was like, you can't do it on this arm. You gotta, it's certain things that she taught me that I still apply. And so having her and my uncle there, I remember having some, I had these chemo caps, and you would have to stick them in dry ice. I started to lose my head, and my uncle was still putting them caps. And I just eventually just stopped bringing them and just cut the hair out. I was like, he was like, you're not going to put your cap? I said, it's gone. We just going to cut it. He was like, all right, niece. I was like, ain't no more hair. We just going to cut it. And I said, we're going to rock this bald head until it grows back. But they were there. I remember my friend Arlene helping me to change my doorknob because I couldn't change it. She was like, you can't even get out of here. And I needed help. I mean, like, I still was regaining strength in my arms and my chest. So it was certain things I couldn't even twist off. And she was like, give me Philip head. we took that doorknob off and we made it work. I remember not being able to take water up my steps. I lived up like 2 flights of stairs. And I had neighbors helping me. I had a neighbor, and I didn't know, but it was really all God. It for real was. I had a neighbor, and she came and knocked on my door, and she said, this is Miss White. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, open this door because I need to make sure you're all right in there because I ain't heard you come out of it. So God always places people just in my area, in the gap somewhere to stand with me. And I'm so appreciative of that. It would take me way too much time to name out everybody that was there to help through the whole process. And, all the while I was still writing, I was still singing, I was still putting work into what Byron Dynamite and I have produced today. I didn't stop because it was like, at the end of the day, my voice still works and I want to still work it.
That's right.
That's what I did. And I'm still gonna keep moving until I take my last breath. This is what I do.
As you should, because again, you already know it was already imparted in you.
Yes, ma'am.
Given to you. You were surrounded around love. You still are surrounded around love. And even through you going through your treatments and having the love of your family around you, you still, like you said, I have my voice. I still can sing even though I'm going through all this. I guarantee you that's what you use to even help you push through when your loved ones were not around. Because, sometimes out of mind, the devil loves out of mind, but you used your voice and your singing and your writing to continue to still battle that devil so he didn't come in to try to kill, steal, and destroy. So thank you for sharing that. Well, I'm going to go into our next commercial to highlight another sponsor, and we'll be right back, you guys.
Dr. Yolanda Jerry is excited to announce her next anthology, My Walk Past Hell, Volume 2, The Men. This time it's all about the men. Men walk past hell just like women. The My Walk Past Hell anthology was an amazing experience for all of the women co-authors. They let out their innermost experiences and got a lot off of their chest. Many lives were changed, and most importantly, their stories led to deeper healing, and they became #1 bestsellers. That's why Dr. Jerry is offering this opportunity to the men, young or old, it doesn't matter. Your story deserves to be told, and you can change someone's life with simple words on a page. It's time to be heard. The world is waiting on you. Book your author spot today at hiswalkpasthell.com. That's www.hiswalkpasthell.com.
And there you have it. That's sponsored by none other than myself, Dr. Yolanda Jerry. I just to kind of give you a little background, I just launched the announcement for my Walk Past Hell Anthology Volume 2 for the men. Actually, I did that today. As a matter of fact, today is official launch date of making an announcement. You know, my volume number 1 were 30 women who came together collectively to share their voices with the world and share their past hell trauma, and showing how their purpose was birthed because of it. You know, their business, their nonprofit, their ministry, and they're doing great things in this world. And they did become #1 bestsellers. I'm gonna say they are #1 bestsellers. And so now we're doing volume 2, and I'm hoping that some men, actually, I had 3 people who actually confirmed today that they will be a part of the book anthology. So if you're watching, if you're a man out there and you're watching, we women will support you while you share your story and tell your truth. And trust me, the first book, those women will also be supporting you to make sure that you are seen and you are heard. So, all right, Laia. So let's get into all of the good stuff that you are doing now. So, you know, you went through your chemo, you went through, you know, the loss of your parents, and still you had the will to push through all of this through your creativity. And now, I mean, as we read in your bio, you work with all these phenomenal artists. I'm just like, shoot, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall at least. So share a little bit about, you know, how it was with working with some of those people, and also tell us about some of the things that you have coming up.
Oh man, when I was in California, it kind of all started with what I was doing at church. I sang with songs, with Jason McKee and songs. And so a lot of those doors were opened when we sang with Jason. And I think me just being a big mouth and always, you know, being somewhere singing, he would be like, hey, Laia, I need a background singer for this. I need a singer for that. And that opened up doors for me to meet the David Fosters and the Rod Stewarts and CeCe Winans. And man, songs was it was so much fun. It was like it was kind of like going into like a ring. And you remember how the guy would say, let's get ready to rumble. It always felt like that when we would be on stage. And I gained a lot of experience and acquired a lot of those opportunities working with Jason. And I think, you know, a lot of what I learned about just presentation and being on stage, and even down to like how to protect my instrument, I learned it from a lot of the people in songs. And then I think Psalms allowed me, after leaving California, to transition over into what I'm doing with Byron Harvey and team. I sing with some of the dopest singers. I really, really do. I have some gifted friends, and I really do believe that iron sharpens iron. It's such a privilege to be able to work with such dynamic people, because they, you know, my aunt used to always say, be around the people that's smarter than you. Be around the people that's a little better than you so you can get better.
That's right.
I love being around Byron and team because I'm getting better with what I do. I continue to sing and hone my craft because I'm around people that stretch me. I'm around people that continue to pour into me and say, hey, you can do this. It's not beyond you. It's not far off. It's something that you can do if you just do it. And I remember having a discussion with Byron a couple months ago. I said, either I'm going to do it or I'm not. But I got to do it. If I say I'm going to do it, I got to do it. Or who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? And so I'm just out here continuing to try to just do it. Byron Dynamite and I have been working together about 6 or 7 years. Yeah, like 6 or 7. I started out working with them when I was in California. I was introduced to them by a mutual friend, and I would do a lot electronically with them. And then during the Christmas holiday, I would come home, record, go back, write more, record, come back. I was back and forth. And eventually I was like, okay, I think I need to be closer to family. I think I need to be closer to what I want to do and love most, and that's music. And most of the people that I needed that were doing that, they were here in the Tennessee area. And so that's how I ended up back here. And it's been an interesting journey, but I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade it. Bouncing back from California to the South has been it's been a lot. You miss some things, you don't miss some things, but I have learned how to make it all work and remember that it's all for his good, it's all for his glory, and work within what he's given me to make something greater out of it. And I think just continuing to do it without trying to create an excuse as to why not has really continued to push me to continue, even without having all of the tangible things that I think I need. I figure it out and continue to make it work.
That's really good. I know you mentioned, going from one coast to coming to the South. No matter what part of the world you're in, you learn to adapt when you move. I was in the military 20 years and 5 days. They're lucky they got them 5, right? It's the truth. But, I served my country. I was proud to serve. And I've been to many different areas, of the country, around the globe. And you learn to adjust in your environment, whether you want to or whether you were forced to or whatever. But what you pick up from being in different areas, you being, over on the West Coast and then having to come here back to the South, is people live differently, but you might, like you said, it was said to you, be around people that you can learn from. Well, when we go out and we move to different locations, we learn from different people. We learn their culture. We learn what to do, what not to do. We learn what's expensive, what's not expensive. It's you could live in the South. You get a little bit more for your money. But people always say the South is slower. But when you go to these other places, people are moving so fast. Like I miss something. So. Learning to adapt to your environment is a good thing. And like you said, you're creative. You can be creative anywhere in the world. It doesn't, your creativity will always be needed, especially in the music industry. So it doesn't matter where you are. You can bless somebody in church. You can bless somebody on an international stage. You can bless somebody, over in a youth ministry, a church. It doesn't matter where you are. You're able to bless people no matter what location you reside. So I just thank you for sharing your voice. I thank you for being on my show, but I
enjoyed you.
I know you mentioned working with some of these people, but I want to, because I'm going to be selfish, I want to know, how was it working with Erica Campbell? She's like one of the ones I really love.
Amazing. It was with Jason. We worked with her on a tribute to Tremaine Hawkins for How Sweet the Sound. And we helped with like the stems and stuff. And it was fun. She's tons of fun.
Wow. And then of course the other one is Mary J Blige, because I love Mary J Blige. So how was it working?
We did a Christmas special with David Foster, and Mary J Blige was there. And she was fun too. Yeah.
Very nice. Very good. Very good. You got a chance to work with some well-known artists, just to be able to be in the same room, is a blessing. So, Laia, I'm going to ask you, what do you have coming up, that you would want everybody to know, whether it's a new album or whether it's a song or whether it's a performance somewhere. We need to get the goodies because people are watching and we want to know so we can try to support.
Well, you can get the single that's already out. It's called I've Been Thinking, and it's under my name on iTunes and Amazon. And my Linktree link, if you want to go to my IG page, it's Laia Jones Music. That's LAIA JONES MUSIC. Laia Jones Music. My Linktree is there, and you can go to my Linktree. You can get it off the YouTube page. You can go and buy it on iTunes. I prefer you buy it on iTunes and Amazon. So you can get the music there. And we're also working on some new music. We're hoping to bring it out in the next month.
Awesome. So what's the name of that song? Because I heard a little snippet. So go and repeat
Yeah.
that. So you can go and download it because I'm going to download it tonight. So download and support Laia Jones.
It is called I've Been Thinking.
We always believe in supporting people because when you bless somebody, your blessings come back triple, double, quadruple. It don't matter, and to be able to just listen to music from me, I know I will go ahead and download it because music is good food for the soul. So go ahead and tell them where to get it again.
You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on Amazon Music. If you want to stream it on Spotify, you can do that. I would love for you guys to buy it. We do appreciate it. We do. And I say we because I did not do this by myself. Jamila McCarley is a writer on the song. I wrote on the song. Byron Morrow and Antoine Johnson were the producer extraordinaires. And we made a masterpiece, and we're gonna keep doing it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your heart on the show. It's been a pleasure having you join me. And I know your story has not only inspired me, but also I'm sure the rest of the people that were watching. And I just want to kind of acknowledge some people that did stay here, the whole entire time I have chimed in, and that was Paula, Christy, Cynthia, Frank Henderson, Dion Bethley, Lee Wright. Lee is a DJ, by the way. Valerie McKnight Brooks, she's also an artist. She sings as well. Katie Ray, Cynthia Simmons, Byron Harvey,
KB,
Calvin Sharp, Professor Thomas Lee Spann Jr., DeLon, who else do we have? Alicia Kelly, who else? Vera Jones, hey Auntie, Dr. Nicole Peters. And so if you have the opportunity, if you choose to do so, just go back and just show them some love, and respond to some folks even after the show. I'm sure they love to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next time, I thank you all for watching and being on the show. Do you have any last words of encouragement you would like to leave everyone before we conclude?
Y'all keep living through it here. Keep going, even when it's tough. Don't give up on anything that God has placed inside of you to do. As my friend John Johnson used to say, it has to happen. It has to happen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Laia. Hang out with me. Everyone, tune into the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. If you just joined, go back and watch the replay because Laia has shared her heart. She shared how to have the will to live through it. And that means living through anything that life throws your way by leaning on God and still. Tune in to the show every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Dr. Yolanda Jerry, the host of the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. And we will see you again next Thursday. Take care and God bless.